What's up, beautiful people? It's me, EL, your favorite dyslexic book nerd, and do I have the pleasure, the honor to have an awesome guest with me here today? And I know y'all gonna vibe because I'm vibing. Um, thank you so much for being here. Um, it is an honor to have you here. I can't wait to get into this conversation. Could you introduce yourself to my lovely followers?
Yes, sir. I am honored and happy to say I am your daughter in love. I am Nakesa Sineath. And yeah, I'm a three-time published author, a grieving mom, a stay-at-home mom, a college student, and yeah, I have a lot of different titles.
Hey, and you wear those hats well, let me tell you.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. So today we're talking about your book, Heaven Didn't Wait. And I just want to read a blurb off of the back of the book. It says, Heaven Didn't Wait is for grieving parents and those who support them. Hope, empathy, healing, compassion, and guidance can be found within the pages of this book. As she reveals and walks through her suffering post the loss of her child, she not only lost her son, but the entire life she planned and envisioned that included him. Hey, if that don't make y'all want to go out and get this book and read this story, then I don't know what y'all doing. All right. First question. Let's jump into it.
Okay.
Your book begins with a list of parents with children they've lost. Are these families you know, and what made you want to recognize them while sharing your story?
So, some I do have the privilege of having an interpersonal relationship with, or like a friendship, an acquaintanceship, or whatever with. However, majority of them I do not know. I simply understand that not everyone is able to choose to write a book or to try to get their story out there or has the opportunity to get their story out there. However, I'm in multiple groups of grieving parents from homicide, pregnancy loss, different things of that nature. And so, listed in the book are families who have had to experience the loss of a child from either pregnancy loss, homicide, suicide, and I put out a basically a call of action or like a question thing of saying whoever would like to be included, I will go ahead and put their children's names, their date of birth, and their angel day, and be able to share them with the world and for anyone who chooses to purchase my book, for the opportunity of them to see your child's name and they will be listed in the memorial. And so officially, I mean, initially, it was supposed to be like 100 or so, and then because I was bombarded sort of with so many parents and people wanting to participate, it did increase to 200, and so it's from all over the world. People had contacted me in order to be a part, and so I literally just went ahead and continued to add to it, and then we had the 200 people who were recognized, and for majority of them I was able to send them a free copy of the book once it was published, that out of my own pocket, whether wherever they were in the world, to be able to mail them their copy. But I did not be able to finish that out and get it to everyone as well as before I was able to complete it. Some parents did pass away. So it is still my goal to finish out getting to the last bit of parents that I can.
That's awesome. And I was like, wow, there's so many names here. You don't really think about how and the um the name for um the crime, you know I'm messed up with words, but I want to say it right.
Filicide. Filicide.
Yes, I had never heard that word before until I was, reading the book and talking to you about your story. And so could you explain, because I know there's some people out here like me that have no idea what that is. Could you explain a little bit about what that is?
Yes, sir. So filicide, it's Filicide, and that is when a parent, whether male or female, the mother or father, um, commits the act of unaliving and killing their child. And it happens a lot more than people would think, and it has happened throughout history. It's even spoken about of what could have happened in the Bible. And yeah, it's literally where it happens on average. The last study I believe was done in like 2009, of 500 cases every year.
Wow.
And yeah, so especially I know after and during COVID, those numbers probably went up. And then now that things have come down and we're post COVID, I'm not sure what the average is now or what would be. But yeah, that's a very big number. And sadly, Amari was a part of that number in 2015. He was a case.
Like before the story, I didn't like it's something you don't really conceive as being a thing, but I, whew.
And it's sad that with this situation, people have to then be educated, as well as the media doesn't really do a good job, as well as our people aren't able to really have that education or knowledge. So that's kind of where I came in and was like, I have to push this. I have to get some type of understanding and find some commonality, something that makes sense to help with this, because this is abnormal. It feels strange. It feels new. It feels wrong. And I need to have some type of understanding to cope and move forward and to find some type of commonality with someone else. And when I found the proper labeling, I found out that it happens a lot. And sadly, like the media does not classify it the proper way. Of like, even when a parent unalives their child and then unalives themselves, that is supposed to be classified as filicide suicide. Uh, it's just a lot that people don't put the effort in or understanding into, or don't know that they should, to be able to kind of get to the root. And it's a very underserved and understudied issue and area.
I, 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 I appreciate, and at such a young age. I mean, you were 19 when this occurred, and it takes a level of strength to not only try to navigate your own grief, but try to bring awareness so that others will be able to navigate grief as well, and educate community, especially our community, on something so prevalent. So I applaud you for that. Um, you share the court process and the complexity of having Amari's father's family supporting him through the trial. How were you able to maneuver through that?
For me, it was truly nothing but the grace of God, because it felt like it was his entire family against little old me. because all of them would show up to every single court date, even when I would show up to every single court date. And I was doing this to be a representation of Amari and to stand on his side because it literally is listed as the state of Florida versus Amari's dad name. And so it's like, even though it feels like it's him versus me, it's like the reality isn't like it's not that. It was literally the state of Florida representing and standing up for the deceased child, Amari, and going against the person who has now been arrested and convicted of second degree murder of Amari. And it was very painful and hard to wrap my head around it. And it's like I also then had to give them grace because, like, it's understandable for to a certain extent that someone you grew up with, that someone you were around every day or for a time. And it's like you don't want to view or see that person as what they did or their actions. And so, like, I get it to a certain degree, but it's like he did say, like, I didn't give Amari those bruises, and that in his interrogation video, he said how he did spank or whoop Amari. And even the detective said, you're the reason your son's dead, and you know his mom's gonna want answers. And sadly, he never really gave me the answers. The detectives had to, but in despite all of that, his family chose to stand beside him and try to lash out at me. And it it was where I honestly believe that because of the way the news handled it in the beginning of when they found my social media, as well as taking the pictures and videos of Amari at that time, they took one of my statuses that I made of that I'm going to seek justice for all involved, and that I didn't understand how we went from him making fake pages on social media to in 8 days he now that I'm being told he's dead. It didn't compute. So it's like, how did we go from there to this?
To this.
And it wasn't making sense. like So I was like, I'm gonna seek justice for all involved, and I don't understand how you could be a murderer, but if what they're saying is true, you're a murderer and nothing else. And so when I said that, his sister, who I did majority of the exchanges for Amari with, she was the main one who contacted me at that time and told me how their family could never forgive me. So yeah, from that point forward, it was me versus all of them. And I was the one that chose to stand to find out and to receive justice for Amari and what that looked like.
And that takes a lot of strength. That takes a lot of strength. I admire that. Um, Not only did you tackle the grief of losing Amari, but you also share your experience as a teen mom. At such a young age, what was your greatest fear about becoming a mother?
Whew. That incorporates a lot. So my greatest fear with being a mom was that I would fail at it. And with him passing, I ended up feeling for a very long time that I did fail. And this is something that I kind of go into in my third book, of where I discussed how once I felt like I was a failure in all three of my titles at the time of a wife, because I was going through a very ugly tumultuous excuse me, tumultuous um divorce process. I felt as a daughter. My dad and I had a very strained relationship, and we were actually no contact at the time of his passing. Um, and then I also felt like I failed as a mother because Amari was dead, and even though with him dying, I didn't just stop being a mother because I also had 2-month-old Ella, who I've had to raise during the entire process since. It's like that was the greatest fear a parent could have, and that became my reality. So it's like I'm having to grieve one child, but then still continue to raise the child that I have and move on with life. And then now also it's adapted and changed of where I'm a mom to other kids now and all of the fears and transitions of that. So all of the fears, I feel like it's adapted and changed over time, but my greatest fear was that I would fail at it. And so that's something that I actively try to work against and shift my mind of like, I didn't fail because I also wasn't the person who chose to take his life. I loved him. I was here for him as much as I could, even being 16 when he was born and 19 when he passed. I gave him love. I instilled in him discipline, courage, strength, um, the love of God. Like I was putting the building blocks into him to be a functional member of society, to be a good young man. And I just wish that I actually be able to see it because he, he would have been 13. And it just is every day. Like, I wonder what young man you would have been.
Yeah. And you're doing an awesome job as a mother, I might say.
Thank
But that brings up a question for me. And maybe you can give advice to other parents that might uh be experiencing, because I can imagine that for quite some time, and maybe even now, or maybe not at all, but just what I'm thinking, right?
you.
um when this happens and you start questioning yourself and stuff like that about, do you become um
Hyper aware.
hyper aware, right? And do you, and how do you, because Amari was with his father, right? So how do you, what would you say to someone who has experienced this but have other children, and like when it come, when they get to a certain age, they want to go, stay with or visit, other relatives without you, or overnight stays with friends, all of those sleepovers and stuff like that. Do those things become difficult for you?
So yes, um, for a long time, Ella wasn't able to go nowhere, and that was kind of a double-edged sword, and good and bad for me. Because, like I said, she was only 2 months, so that's been a long time from 2 years old. I mean, 2 months old to now 10 years old. And so, even like I said, like it's been adapted, especially now because I have more children as well. So I have 4 living children, and so and that happened through 2022 to now to 2025. And so it's shifted, but even when closer to back then, I would say it wasn't up until Ella was about 8 months that, I was starting to let her go with her grandparents and be around them. At that time, her father wasn't really active in her life. He was in the military in a whole nother country. But like I would allow her to go over to her grandparents and like be familiar with them. They were coming over to my place. It was all of that. But it was inch by inch, and I appreciate them truly because even they gave me grace and were like, "We understand." Um, and they did even have to like have a conversation with me, like, "Baby girl, you know we're not them. We've put in time and shown you, and we were at your son's funeral. Like, we've also raised four children. We've done these things and stuff as well, and we've shown you how we're not them, and this is not the same experience. So at some point, you're going to kind of have to give us a chance to show you and to prove." And so they have, and even to this day, they're active grandparents. They are a wonderful part of my blended family, and I'm very appreciative of them. And they are a part of like how I opened my heart and my conscience back to not being so protective and sheltering her. And I'm thankful for that. Now, when it comes to like other things, I'm still a little apprehensive because I grew up in the time frame and where like with my family, I've experienced stuff of like cousins touching cousins and
Mhm.
doing other stuff like that. So for those type of things, it's
Yeah.
some more time, some more healing, and building relationships with certain people to
Right.
potentially
Right.
resist that, as well as with the world we live in, with especially for the color of my kids' skin and how unhinged I am about my children. I don't know about sleepovers with other people, but like as far as our church members and stuff like that,
Yeah.
um, the children have been over to like their best friend's house with our church and stuff like that. And they've been over to our home as well. And so it's a process and a case by case basis, but I'm definitely not as protective and swarming of a mother and a helicopter mom as I was.
That is, yeah. That's one of the things I appreciated about my parents, right? Because I'm older and stuff, and so I came up where, you know, um, if your people came over and they wanted to give you a hug, you had to give them a hug and that kind of thing.
Right.
But
Yes.
but my parents, my dad specifically, was not. He wasn't. If you didn't want to, you didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? And so, and there was always, um, we always felt, or I can only speak for me. I can't speak for my brother, but I believe we both felt like if there was a situation that we were able to communicate that to our parents and not fear that we wouldn't be believed or they wouldn't look into what we were saying, right?
That's beautiful.
And I I know that you have created that type of space within your home that your children are able to say, hey, and I think that as people of color, we need to definitely go away from that old
Old
way of thinking, right? And you know
adapt.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Mm-mm. Da, 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 da. All right. You shared an incident with the little boy at the airport that was so poignant. Can you share that experience with us?
Yes. As soon as you started talking about it, my heart started racing.
Oh,
Because every time I feel a little guilty and a little happy. So I I still hope and pray to this day. I hope this little boy find me one day,
He
if he even remember, because I don't know. So grief is something else. So this was shortly after Amari was his burial and everything. I had to very quickly return back to work. And so my job at the time was working at the airport as a Starbucks barista. And I was like right after the gate. And so, a bunch of people, would come through and everything, a very high traffic area. And I was out filling up the milks again. And it, sorry, one of the kids' toys was going off.
okay.
That just scared me a little bit. Um, so I was filling up the milks, and lo and behold, a little boy came and was lost. And instantly in my head, it was like I didn't really think about it, but grief, it changes your view of things, as well as, sometimes when you're going through stuff, you only see or hear through your lens of your trauma. And so in that moment, I literally thought I saw Amari tugging at me, because he literally was tugging at my apron and looking up at me and was saying, "Mommy." So from the back, I assumed that he thought like I was his mom. And so I looked down at this little boy. I almost fainted. It was like, "Oh, okay. Hi. I just buried you, but hello. Give me a hug. Come here."
Right, right,
So I'm reaching down, grabbing him, like trying not to freak him out, but I'm shaking and I'm just like, okay, is the last couple days I done went through not true?
right,
Am
right.
I experiencing a miracle from the Bible? Am I about to have to deal with people poking and prodding my child? Like, what's supposed to go on here? And then, so I'm looking at him, and then it's starting to process in my head the more I'm like saying it and talking about it in my head, like, what's going on? And he starts to then look like himself. So I'm just like, okay, okay, you're not my child. He's realizing like I'm not his mom, because he's starting to pull away and stuff as well. And I'm just like, okay, so I had to put the milk down and let them know, like, hey, I'm about to have to help him find his mom. So then we go back to the what do you call it? The TSA area, because this is like what's nearest to us. And so I'm just like, okay, he's lost his mom, and we need to be able to help him find his parents and get him on his way. Uh, so thankfully, we did end up finding his mom, and they went ahead, got on their flight. I did have to, for my peace of mind, let the mom know, like, at first I thought this was my child. I thought he might be a little freaked out, but here you go. Here's your son. He's safe and sound, and y'all can go on your way. And then that was the first time I had to say out loud that Amari is no longer here. And so I held it together in that moment. But after that, I literally had to go to the bathroom and I completely broke down. So, uh, needless to say, soon after that, I did end up having to quit because of how mentally and emotionally that job was becoming on me.
That brings up my next question. I know you struggle with serious depression, which I think we all understand, right? You share your suicide note with readers. What do you hope others learn from those raw words and emotions?
I'm a firm believer and advocate that despite what you're going through and how painful it is, that you're still here for a reason. And I'm a person who has survived several suicide attempts, and I've had suicidal ideations even before I was a parent. And I'm a firm believer that I'm still here for a reason. Life is so delicate and so beautiful. Even though Amari's not here, I feel like I'm not obligated, but like tasked with or assigned with being a brighter light because of him. I carry his torch and my own. And I'm able to give love and be a support to people that are here and or feel like they shouldn't be here. And I'm a walking example. Like I still have the opportunity to change and to be better and to work on me. And so I'm the first person who, if you're going through something, I'll give you a little encouragement. If I see your behaviors like where you're trying to pull away or become reserved, or like if I feel like you're going to self harm, I'm going to try to be there as much as I can. You don't have to say it. And I believe like that's kind of something that was is with a lot of people who have suffered with suicidal ideations and or attempts. And that's just one of the things that I feel like I was tasked with. So if you are someone who suffers with those thoughts or those emotions, I say try reaching out to somebody. I say express how you feel. There's plenty of help out there, whether they look like us or not. Sometimes you have to trust. And I hope that they're safe. And if they're not, you can even try to reach out to me. I am very active on social media. I'm willing to hold a conversation with you, to try to be there for you. I'm literally in school to become a trauma and grief therapist. So one day it will actually be my job. So it's just great practice. Like I I want to be there for as many people as I can. And even similar to what my mission statement with is with my nonprofit. My goal is to save a child because I couldn't save my own. In this case, I saved myself because, well, God truly saved me, but I'm still here and I want to help other people still be here. I get to experience the beautifulness of having three other children that are growing and developing and seeing their lights in life. If I would have been successful or done what I've tried to do, I wouldn't have been in this beautiful chapters of my life.
That's beautiful. Let's talk about nonprofit. What's the name of your nonprofit and what you guys do?
Amari's Earthly Angels Incorporated. Um, right now, we don't do much, but I'm going to get back to it and on it. It's kind of been in limbo because I was trying to shift it from Florida to up here in Virginia. However, I had to close the one from Florida and start the one here in Virginia. And so that was a little process and a little bit of the self doubt and all of those things trying to tell me, like, oh, you failed again. But nope, redirecting, changing it, change your perspective.
Right.
Um, and it's like I finally pushed through, and it's where the main goal is to provide education, awareness, and honor those who have been lost to filicide. So, about their cases, about the actual children and our person themselves. Because, fun fact, um, Marvin Gaye, the singer,
Mm-hmm.
he actually was a filicide victim.
Oh, yeah.
So there are plenty of ways that it happens. It can be through direct physical beating, harm, or whatever. It can be through gun violence. It can be through strangulation, drowning, other methods. Um, but the core basis of it is the unaliving of the child. And it was, again, a paternal filicide because it was his father that shot and killed him. Um, then there's, all of the different subcategories that are a part of filicide, which is infanticide and neonaticide, which is when it's suicide early on in the child's life of like an infant or within the 24 hours of them being born. So yeah, like all of it is together. Uh, I just want to provide the awareness of the individual, their case, and their family, and what's happening now, and just
Hey,
support.
you're doing an amazing job, right? Don't let that negative self-talk knock you off your square. What you provide is needed most. I mean, like I said, I never even had heard of filicide before. You know what I mean? And then like and then the whole the Marvin Gaye thing, I would have never put the two together, even though I know what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that, and I know there are a lot of people that need that type of support. Definitely um that type of education so that we all become aware. And I know you're gonna take Virginia by storm. You know what I'm saying? Like, and in any way that I can support you, just let me know.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
My first thing in Virginia here that I've done is completing my docu series that's available on my YouTube. That was dedicated to Amari because 2015 was the year that made a decade since Amari's murder. And I finally, after all of the different times of telling my story, different platforms, and being able to talk to them, and sometimes certain people don't know different things to ask you and are only focused on certain chapters of your life and things like that. So I finally had the time to, in 3 parts, tell his story and everything that I know in a way that I feel respected and honored his life as well as his loss, and kind of give people a look into, like, some people who have harsh words and stuff to me because they tried to play detective with my case and with my pain, and saying like, "Oh, you're a coward. You let your son get beat to death," and things like that. And it's like,
Wow.
no, I wasn't there. Most people are under the impression, because of how the news presented it, that I was there because they stated a mother was there. However, the mother was the mother to the two younger children, the two little girls that were present, because in that household during the what was it? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So the 5 days leading to his death. Um, it was his father, his father's then girlfriend, which it was her apartment that Amari was actually found in. Then it was the two younger sisters, uh, from the pair, and Amari that were present in the home when the EMTs and the police arrived to the scene. And people even have anger and judgment towards the then girlfriend as well, due to when I say it's not me or it wasn't me. And it's like, again, I kind of wish people would give more grace in playing detective of like giving the off the wall theories and things like that. Like, I
Yeah.
get the time, but it's still somebody's life, and someone died, and the someone who died is my child that I birthed.
Right.
So it's like all of the judgment and the anger and the emotions. It it's a whole. It can either be really good or really bad.
I feel that.
And so, that's where I just went ahead and said my entire side so that, because every time I do a interview, I get the mix of people who try to reach out to me to either bash me and or to say like, "Wow, you're doing a great job. Whatever you're doing in life, I hope it's good," or that you have other kids and things like that who wish me well. And so now I finally have put it out there into the world where people can look and see my entire story and in one place, and I'm the one who went ahead and put it out there. So it's like I'm very proud of that. I look forward to maybe getting back to some of the things I did in Florida of like having Christmases where I can bless children with toys and clothes and gifts to be able to have a beautiful Christmas season and things like that.
I dig it. I dig it. What would be your advice for other parents who, because in this social media life that we live, you know, everything is real, even though everything is not real, and everyone doesn't know everything, even though they think that they know everything, and like everyone has an opinion, right? So, what would be your advice for a parent that is going through this type of situation, how to navigate the negativity that they might, you know, experience from, people who don't know the ins and outs of the case, or you know the family members of the perpetrator. Like, what would be your advice to them to be able to navigate that experience?
So for myself, um, while I was the one in the thick of it, I handled it in a way that sometimes I wish I would have shifted and listened to others who were just like, you don't have to say that, or you can wait, or just let the truth come out. However, and it's crazy because I'm a very non confrontational person, but about my baby, I was very confrontational. I was reading the comments, I was doing things that were rough on my mental health. And it was kind of where I wanted to punish myself because I couldn't protect my child. So it's like I was looking for an out. I wanted people to tell me what I was saying to myself already. And it's like I have said the darkest things. So no one can ever say stuff that can kind of take me by surprise at this point because I've said it all to myself. And I've reached my lowest low. But it was added to because I was the one looking through all the comments every time I was on the news or that it was put on social media and going down and looking at what all the family's trying to say and what different things they're trying to argue of how it was my fault or I went looking for those things and I found them. And I was very angry and being confused, but I would say just do what's best for your mental health. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. You don't have to prove anything to anybody, like yourself, others. It will all come out in due time. Be gentle with yourself. I firmly believe and stand by that you should try to lean on your faith and those who are around you, but be cautious because just like I said in the book, with faith comes people who mean well, but are likely to throw out a bunch of platitudes right at you. And sometimes it can go either way because I've cussed out my share of people because what you mean God had called his angel home? Like
Right,
he had a home right here on earth with me.
right.
Time I wasn't ready to hear all that.
Right.
And so it it's a process. Like you gotta give grace and expect grace. And so do what's best for your mental health. Find a level of grace. Find a group of people and or friends or someone who you can trust and that can is or is willing to learn how to be there for you and slide them a book if you need to. Like I give things of like how it's okay to just sit with you in silence, just be ready to talk to you about your child or the person that you're missing, and that it's okay to mention your child's name. Like sometimes you even have to be the person who's willing to sit down and kind of like let them guide the conversation of what they're okay with or what they're not. And it'll all alter in time because I hate the line of that time heals all wounds because that is false, false, false. And trauma don't make you stronger. Trauma makes you hurt. Cry, have sleepless nights, be traumatized, all of that. But with your faith and within yourself, picking yourself up by the bootstraps every day, choosing to get up, brush your teeth, stand, and walk are things that are every day helping you adapt and face your new normal. Because normal and go back to normal is no longer an option. You have to form who you are from the incident forward. And and I wish you peace, love, and happiness on the road.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me. It has been my honor and pleasure. I so appreciate it. If the people would like to know where they can get the book or where they can connect with you, where would they go?
So for connecting with me, that's anywhere. um, on Instagram, my tag is life as Mrs. Sineath, or life of Mrs. Sineath, one of those two. And then on Facebook, uh, I am Nakesa Sineath. On YouTube, I am Nakesa Sineath. Um, what else? Twitter, Nakesa Sineath. TikTok, I am that ninja.
Oh, I like that. I never noticed that. Okay.
Yeah. Um, and then for my books, you can either Google it with my name and or just go on Amazon and type in Nakesa Barnhill, which is my maiden name. And so yeah, Nakesa Barnhill.
Thank you, awesome sauce.
Thank
All
you.
all right, y'all. Y'all run out and get those books. Y'all know where to find them. Y'all
Okay.
know where to find her. Hey, and if you are not a subscriber to Blackout Magazine, I don't know what y'all doing.
Get on it.
Get on it. Cause y'all want to know where we going, what we doing, and who we talking to. All right. So to the next time, y'all already know what it is. Do me a favor and go read a book.